The Human Energy Project has really grown out of these two visions, the vision of motivating a positive vision of the future, and then getting the science right so we understand how it changes. Getting the science right, of course, is what we need to do to deal with practical problems. If you don't understand how things work and you fiddle with them, it usually breaks things. So we need to understand that. Our current problems are now global. We're in the process of causing all of these issues to accelerate. Population explosion, energy use, waste products dumped into the environment in the form of heat, in terms of refuse, using up all of the free energy within the earth in terms of fossil fuels at a very, very rapid rate, and allowing it to pollute the world at the same time. All of these are issues that have to do with the fact that as a growing organism, if we think about the whole human population like an organism, if it doesn't pay attention to its world, eventually it sort of messes its own nest. So looking at the big picture, looking at the noosphere, looking at the idea of what you might call global intentionality, as we can develop better global intentionality in which we actually have good information about what we are actually doing and how it affects the earth, we have a much better chance of at least recognizing and doing something about these problems. So I think in the short term, the motivation of having a positive vision and recognizing all the ways that that positive vision can be undermined by what we're doing currently is an important first step.
We're storytelling animals, and the stories that we tell ourselves and others matter in a very interesting way that I never thought about before much. But the biggest lever for transformation, I think, can be the stories that we tell about ourselves, who we are and what we want in life. And that all of these stories encompassing in the third story approach, in the noospheric approach, allow us to see that we're connected, that we're not isolated individuals, separate and meaningless existences, but that yes, we have a contribution to make, and that in itself can be the starting point for many other constructive ways of collaboration.
Looking at the degree of conflict, disconnection, the loss of any shared sense of truth or the real are really scary, profound problems. And without deliberate collaboration, connection, we can't address those issues. I see instances of the noosphere operating all around us, and sometimes I pause and go, well, is that just globalism at work? But I think the deliberate engagement in sharing knowledge and access and information and tools and networks and transforming the way one does things in the process of doing that can be really inspiring. And I see that as the work of the noosphere.
Things that are happening around the earth are not happening to us because we just happen to be standing on the sidelines. The third story allows us to see that if we have an impact, starting with the individuals around us in our communities, again, we're a human organization, then that means that we have the choice. Do we enact something for positive or for the negative? And in this particular case, human energy is all about the positive. It's recognizing what's happening around us. It recognizes that we do have an impact and that we can have an impact probably greater than we might believe at the moment.
I don't think it's a very simple path, you know, for a story to solve problems. And like in my mind, how it goes, it's through an individual, you know, through basically not only individual knowing of the story as, you know, like something that I can like knowing in a sense I can repeat to you what the story is, but actually like filtering through an individual such that it will transform the individual. And what this transformation, like in my understanding, is that you understand yourself differently when you apply the understanding of the third story of the universe to yourself.
We cannot solve the problems of the world without science. And so for science to inform our meaning systems, I think has proven to be essential. I think what made Teilhard's vision so distinctive was that it was the first meaning system based on science and evolution. And despite the fact that Teilhard was a Jesuit priest and therefore steeped in the Christian tradition, the worldview that he created was scrupulously based on science. And he actually regarded this as a kind of a metamorphosis of the Christian religion that could now, everything that you said could be justified by science. The same is not true for Christianity, of course. All past religions have made use of beliefs which are counter-factuals. That's why we call them supernatural. And so Teilhard was among the first to create a meaning system that every major statement could be justified scientifically. And I think that's what makes it unique and worth developing.
The philosophy of the third story is there is this drive towards a more synergetic system. And the synergetic system means that different actions of different agents in the world become more coordinated. There is less friction, there is less conflict, there is more cooperation. Understanding that very broad general dynamics, we can now start applying it to specific domains, like for example global warming. You may need to coordinate between the actions in one country and another country. You may need to see the coordination or the synergy between what happens in the oceans and what happens in the rainforest, or what happens here and there. This worldview is a worldview where you look at the world as one network of interacting agents that are seeking for synergy, and it helps you to think of the problem is, where can we find the synergy, where can we find the coordination, where are the points of friction to be eliminated.